Most common myth about accessible design.
Accessible design is boring design.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. We're here with the Joost, Misha, Rebecca. Great to have you all. Very exciting. So we're here to talk about the major rebranding that we did together. We launched basically a new Accessiway 2.0. We've done a full rebrand. We've got a brand new website. And today we're sitting with the masters of the universe, design visionaries that made that possible with us. So very exciting to dive into it and talk about it with you.
Let's start with honesty. When you first met us and saw our brief, what did you actually think?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I think at first I saw an opportunity because I think the current sort of accessibility industry, it screams personality, like it needs personality. I felt like, and accessibility companies, they often tend to look very technical, very sort of software driven. And I just saw a huge opportunity there as a bit more of a strategic point of view.
Misha, to you, was there a moment early on where you thought this is going to be very hard?
Well, yes. When I was first introduced to the project, I had to show our first design direction for the homepage, and I was actually quite positive that you would like it. But it wasn't really received well at all. I remember Diana saying, you took it pretty far. And I was like, oh, pretty far, that's good. And then she added pretty far away. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not what I was hoping for. So yeah, we basically had to rework our initial design proposal, and considering like the short timelines we had, I thought, okay, this is going to be challenging. But it was actually a nice and collaborative process because we ended up with what the website is today. So I'm quite happy with that.
Great.
And Joost, what did we push back on that you still think that we were wrong about? I might know the answer.
Oh, okay. I'm always a big favor of word marks and logos that have no capital. And I think that was one thing we went back and forth with multiple times of like, hey, do we need to have the capital A in the word mark? In the end, it looks amazing, but I always find it more clean if it's without. But that was the one thing that I wanted to fight for. But yeah, I think we did well in the end together. Yeah.
Moving to the accessibility challenge, this is something, of course, very on topic. And Joost, I come to you with this question. Since you're designing for a company that is entirely around accessibility, I wonder how much pressure did this add to the project?
That's a great question. And to be fair, it did add some pressure, but I think it's the good kind of pressure. I think it forced us to design more intentionally. So sometimes as designers, you can be led by certain aesthetics or certain things that you feel are, currently on trend. But I think this really forced us to think in a way where everything is intentional. Everything needs to serve clarity, and it needs to remove those sort of design decisions that are purely based on aesthetics. And I think it's a bit of a misconception that accessibility sort of limits you in your creativity. I think it's the opposite. I think if you can be expressive and bold in how we formulate ourselves and how we look and how we show up, it adds this certain sort of established look and feel as well. And I think I think we did that very well all together, where we're just not only looking at what is not possible, but actually like pushing here and there a little bit on what is actually possible within the constraints of that.
What does a brand have to be willing to let go more than to actually evolve? And it was pretty much the story at the beginning of our process with you. We had to let go.
I think in general, what we see a lot with startups and scale ups, that when you're a relatively young brand, brands tend to over explain everything. and brands tend to sort of, oh, people don't know us, we need to, tell as much as possible to get the information there. And early sort of stage companies, they put meaning everywhere. So in the logo, in the name, in the visuals, like everywhere, it becomes like a sort of stack of an overload of information. And I think as a brand matures, like it doesn't need to explain itself anymore. So you're reaching that point of clarity and confidence. And I think evolution usually, ideally, means simplifying, cutting things back, stripping it down to the core, going back to the sort of root of why you do things. I think that's very powerful if a brand can do that. And I remember your first logo where you had the slogan underneath the logo everywhere. So I think right now it feels way more mature in that sense as well.
Misha, given how saturated the market is today and how quickly AI can basically generate new brand guidelines in a few minutes, what does a meaningful brand differentiation look like? What can you do nowadays to really be different?
Yeah, it's true that tools can generate visuals, but they can't generate meaning. So I believe it's more about the story behind the brand. So does your brand identity align with your mission, your values? Is there like a clear differentiation with competition or similar brands? So basically, if you see the brand, what kind of feeling do you get, and does it make sense?
Beautiful. AI cannot give meaning yet.
I think maybe just to add on that one thing is like, it's true that AI now is everywhere, and it really is changing the way that we work also in design. It essentially allows us to fail faster. And by that, I mean, we can try out things quickly, see if it works, see if it sticks, and then move on. So where before we would spend maybe a week or 2 weeks exploring something, or like exploring a specific design route or like visuals or something like that, right now we can do that in a day, and then we can say, hey, this has potential, this works, or this doesn't work. So in that sense, it does allow us to move faster, but it starts from meaning. It starts from a strategic choice, and AI makes you help, like work faster, but at the same time, like taste is not something that AI can do. Yet, hopefully, hopefully, because else we will have a problem. Yeah, I think you always need a good thought to start.
A quick round of short questions, but meaningful.
Okay.
So, Misha, one word to describe the old Accessiway brand.
One word. I actually had a sentence.
A sentence, it's okay.
It's giving software company vibes.
Software company vibes. Yeah.
Nice. Joost, one word for the new one, or one sentence.
If I have to choose, it would be empowering, I think.
Beautiful. Yeah. Misha, the page on the site, the current one, of course, that you're most proud of.
I was thinking about it, but it's the About Us page. I think that comes off the most beautiful, I would say. And also, it shows the people. It has a bit of everything. It has that editorial vibe. It clearly shows what you do, and also shows the data around it. So I think that's a nice page.
Agree.
I agree.
Joost, most common myth about accessible design.
Most common myth, that would be accessible design is boring design.
I knew it. I knew you would say that. Misha, can a brand be bold, beautiful, and fully accessible, or there is always a trade-off?
No, I think it can. It can be bold, it can be beautiful and accessible. I think it's all about balance.
Joost, what do you hope people feel when they land on our new website?
When they first land on the new website, relief, I think, hopefully. Like internet and the solutions are finally there for them.
And now to you both, will you do it all over again?
Yes, 100%. I think we had an amazing collaboration, and it's only the beginning.
I will say the same. And okay. Diana, what would you say?
Absolutely, from A to Z. we're not in Z yet, but I would totally go back to the A and do it all over again.
Capital A, right?
Capital A.
Capital A.
Capital A.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to work with you.
Really, like, it was a beautiful, beautiful collaboration. I think we really heard one another. We really respected one another. Like, we really found the breathing room. You know, it was a commitment from two-way street in which we all really put the time, sat down, like properly thought about it. Like, sometimes also rebranding can feel rushed. And in this one, it was really like kind of thoughtful, which like to get to where we are today, it was indeed the human substance. We use the AI to speed it up, but the human substance is really like something that came from both sides. So definitely grateful and happy about it.
Nice. Well, you look great on the web, and I think it's wonderful to see it out there and see it live. So congratulations.
Thank you
so much. It's been a pleasure as usual, and we'll be in touch.